Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I am Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. So, megastar Eddie Murphy is still upset, rather, over a joke that comedian David Spade said in Saturday Night Live in 1995, where he basically stated that Eddie Murphy's career was on the decline. And according to this article I'm about to read, that Eddie Murphy essentially, when he was being interviewed, stated that he was pretty upset about that and that it had some negative effects on him, and that he believes at the time that it was a racist jab at him. So let's get right into this article because when this article ends, uh, I'm going to definitely make a comment on Eddie Murphy's attitude and approach about what may be a racist situation. So let's get right into this. Let's get right into this. And the article starts off Eddie Murphy is still seething over a 1995 joke on Saturday Night Live about the decline of his Hollywood career delivered by cast member David Spade. In a new interview with the New York Times, the 63-year-old Murphy recently opened up about the, quote, cheap shots he feels he suffered from the late night comedy series. And if anyone ever watched Saturday Night Live, I used to watch it back in like the 80s and stuff like that. And that show, oh my God, used to have me rolling. Anyway, he suffered from the late night comedy series where he became a breakout star in the 1980s. Yes, he was a breakout star, big time. But it isn't just the, quote, racist jokes that sparked his long-running feud with David Spade. Murphy feels he has been unfairly treated by many of his former co-workers. Now, when I first started reading this article, by the way, this is a conservative article, so, they're going to spin it in their way like if it was a left-wing article, they would definitely spin it as a racist article. This clearly is racist. But when I first started reading this article, when I first started reading the first few paragraphs, I said to myself, oh boy, here we go. Here we go with another celebrity, black celebrity, crying racism and crime victimhood. But as I read further, I found out it wasn't completely so. So let's get into this. I don't want to give away too much in my commentary on this, but it says Murphy went on to insist that it was a, quote, a wow, different world when he was shooting to stardom, and he had little support from the industry's establishment players. And when Spade joked that Murphy's career was over on the very show the 48 Hour star felt as if he saved, it was a cruel cut indeed. Okay? And it says, back in the old days, they used to be relentless on me, and a lot of it was racist stuff, Murphy said, adding that there was no black Hollywood. There were no rappers, hip-hop, it was the 80s. Okay, here I have to totally disagree, bro. I love Eddie Murphy. I love him. He's a cool cat. But here I have to disagree. To say that first he says there was no black Hollywood. There's no black Hollywood now. And all this so-called black stuff that these Marxists are doing right now, it isn't trying to give black people equal rights and equal this and equal that. It is not at all. They're just trying to cause division. They're just trying to hate on white people, but I'm not going to get into the detail of that, and that's another story. No. The whole idea there was no black Hollywood. Yeah, there was no black Hollywood then. There's no black Hollywood now. There's never going to be a black Hollywood, okay? Hollywood is Hollywood, and it's all about money and a lot of other nasty stuff, okay? People have called it Hollyweird. That's what it is. It's weird and it's nasty. Okay, so the whole comment, there was no black Hollywood, I don't give a damn. Then he says there was no rappers, hip-hop, it was the 80s. Nah, there were rappers, the Fat Boys, the Beastie Boys. Oh, come on, man. Well, the Beastie Boys was a white group, but you had the Fat Boys, Run DMC. I mean, come on, Houdini. Eddie, come on now. There were 80s was not a bad time for black people. It really was not. I mean, after all, he was one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood at the time. If he was not the highest paid, and if he was not the most popular, he was one of the most popular and one of the highest paid. Okay, in spite of the opposition that he claims he stated here in kind of a roundabout way. Okay. I don't remember personally suffering from any real racism back in the 80s. I saw the reverse of it. When I was going to school at Charles Mooney Junior High, they used to call it junior high school. When I was going to junior high school, I think it was Paul Mooney, Charles Mooney or Paul Mooney, something like that. Paul Mooney, not Paul Revere. Paul Revere was the other school. I think Charles Mooney. I think it was Charles Mooney. And the school was on the west side. I didn't see any racism, racist teachers, that I'm familiar with. I didn't see the teachers being racist towards blacks or any of that. I saw it was the reverse. It was black people being racist towards white people, beating up on white people, talking about white people, putting white people down. I saw that all the time. So let's stop it, okay? Let's just stop all of that. That's what I personally saw. But I just wanted to make a comment about this because this whole idea there was no rappers or hip hop, it was the 80s. That I have to disagree with, my brother. I mean, no. I don't know what gated community or world you was living in, okay? Goes on to say Murphy was a feature player on Saturday Night Live from 1980 to 1984 and at the time helped revitalize the long-running sketch comedy series. Yet only 10 years later, that very same show was cutting him down. That cut appeared during a skit called The Hollywood Minute when cast member Spade showed a photo of Murphy on screen and then joked, quote, "Look, children, it's a falling star. Make a wish." The jab came on the heels of Murphy's 1995 film Vampire in Brooklyn, which did not do well at the box office. And let me make a slight little comment here. Okay, I think that was obviously distasteful, okay? And one could even spin it as the left would definitely spin it as racist today, but that was obviously distasteful at a person's career, seemingly on a decline at the time. But I just want to make the comment on the fact that at that time, Eddie Murphy's career was kind of like on the decline. He wasn't doing as well as he was in the 80s. And so that is true. It didn't do too well at the box office. I personally liked Vampire in Brooklyn. I've seen it quite a few times. Was it his best film? No, it was not his best film. No, not at all. It was not his best film. I feel his best film was, although I didn't see all of his movies, I feel his best film was, what's the name of that the boy with the little bald-headed boy? God, I forget the name of that movie. What was the name of that movie? Do y'all remember? Do y'all remember the name of that movie? I can't remember the name of the movie. The Golden Child. Yeah, that's it. The Golden Child. Yeah, man. I thought that was his best movie. I love The Golden Child. But anyway, article goes on. The Beverly Hills Cop, and that was a hit, by the way. The Beverly Hills Cop star said he was stunned when Spade threw a dig at him. It was like, hey, hello, this is Saturday Night Live. I'm the biggest thing that ever came off that show. And he was. The show would have been cut off air if I didn't go back on the show. And now you have somebody from the cast making a crack about my career? Murphy was also shocked that SNL's producers gave the okay to use the joke. And he goes into talking about how, this has to pass through, pass through the producers in order for that joke to be legitimized and so forth. So I'm going to skip that part. But it says, Murphy also insisted that there was a racial element to it all as well. He said it was like, yo, how could you do that? My career? Really? A joke about my career? So I thought that was a cheap shot. And it was kind of racist, I thought. I felt it was racist, he added. Now, there's a difference between feeling something is racist and kind of thinking it's racist. I kind of thought that was racist, feeling it's racist. Instead of just saying that was racist. He felt it was racist. There is a difference. Particularly when it's white people, particularly at that time or before then, even though I didn't, as I said before, I didn't see a lot of, racist situations in my own personal life and my observations at the time. Assuming that this was the case at the time, with him being black and David Spade being white and a significant number of the producers and writers being white, of course they're going to think, hey, man, this is a racist jab at me in my career. But I think a lot of that is brainwashing, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, for his part, Spade spent years being defiant over the feud, telling Murphy, quote, let it go. But in 2015, he finally admitted that he had come to understand how hurt Murphy felt over the slam and said he felt bad about being the tip of the spear for people to turn against the actor. And but I wanted to say here, read this part here, and I want to get right into my commentary. Ultimately, though, Murphy says he has buried the hatchet with both Spade and SNL. The Shrek star did note that he returned to the late night show in 2015, saying, quote, in the long run, it's all good. Worked out great. I'm cool with David Spade. I'm cool with Lauren Lauren Michaels. I went back to SNL. And that's it right there. Yeah. So it ended on a positive note, and I'm glad about that. And I just wanted to say, first things first. I wanted to make the comment of first things first about, because I've been accused, and as a lot of black conservatives have been accused of saying that racism doesn't exist. Well, you conservatives and you conservative black and white, you guys say, especially black conservatives, y'all just deny racism exists at all. We do not deny racism exists. Racism still exists. Okay, there was an incident that happened some time ago. Actually wasn't that long ago. It was like about a week or two ago. I'm pretty sure some of you heard of it, of a white couple who basically had kidnapped some kids. I don't know. Let me take it back. I don't think they kidnapped them. They adopted them or something like that, and literally put these kids in a barn, and it's just basically they were just horribly abused and so forth. They weren't kept. They weren't clean and none of that. And they did so, according to the reports, because they were black. Okay, so clearly, gross, horrible racism still exists in isolated situations. But that's an isolated situation. I'm pretty sure some other situations that are similar to that are racially related. And I'm pretty sure of that. So, but I don't deny racism exists, and neither do black conservatives deny racism exists. We're just saying in an institutionalized way, okay? In an institutionalized way particularly like it was before the 1960s, when you had institutions and corporations and you had the lawmakers creating laws that said black people, you belong over here, and white people, you belong over here, and no twain should they be together, okay? That's what we're referring to, not isolated situations, okay? But this situation with Eddie Murphy and David Spade and Saturday Night Live, I keep thinking Saturday Night Fever. Was that racist? Probably. There may have been some racial overtones in that, because Eddie Murphy said he felt it was racist. That may have been. But here's the deal. Let's just assume it was. Let's just assume that the cast members and the writers and producers of Saturday Night Live said, we're going to take a jab at this guy because we don't like him because he's black. Yes, he saved our show, but we really would have preferred someone else to save our show who wasn't black, but we just happen to have to pick a black person to do it when we really didn't want to do it, and he saved us. But now that his career is going on downfall, we're going to take advantage of that, and we're going to dump on top of him. Let's assume that is totally true. It was totally racist, okay? What I like is Eddie Murphy's response. Eddie Murphy was agitated and upset and hurt by it at first, but he did not allow it to poison him to the point where he was willing to go to the government, like a lot of these, or go to the government or go to some think tank and organize some group together and get funding from people to try to create some kind of organization or think tank or institution to fight racism. He didn't do any of that nonsense. People like Taraji B. Henson, Taraji P. Henson. I mean, the stuff that she keeps yicking and yakking about, every other word has to do with racism in her mouth, coming out of her mouth. And it's sick and it's disgusting. These, what was it? I think it was a runner, black runner, female. I don't know her name, but she's screaming and hollering, oh, first time black people, and it's just, stop making it a racial thing, boo. Just say I won. That's all. You was the best out of them all. Why you got to make it racial? That's the kind of stuff that aggravates me. And it seems to me that even though this had hurt Eddie Murphy, and he may have felt that this was a racial jab at him, he did not allow it to poison him like so many of these celebrities do now, and walking around with their head up their butt, acting like they so hurt and victimized. He didn't do that. It says at the end of the article that him and Spade reconciled, and he's cool. He's all good. It's all good, man. Let's move on. He was willing to move on. He didn't let that stop him. He didn't let that poison him. He didn't let that hinder him, and he walked around mad at the world, and every other word come out of his mouth has to do with racism and this, that, and the other. He didn't do that, okay? He didn't do that, and that's what I wanted to say. And that's what I think a lot of these black celebrities need to try to focus on. Somebody tried to make the baseball player, I forget that baseball player's name. he's a black baseball player, and I forget his name. I should know that, right? You know what I mean? I should know that. I think it was Hank Aaron. Hank. But he was a black guy, and he was sharing with a panel of sports casters, and some of you guys have probably seen that how he was treated, and how racist it was back then, and what he went through, and some have tried to spin that as saying, "Oh my God, it's just man, I just feel so far. America's just so racist. This is so horrible." And at one point it was, but that's not the same as it is now. What I believe he was saying is that he was not boo-hooing and crying like so many of these black celebrities do today, and how racist everything is, and they just suffering, and they're so oppressed, and they're victims of this and victims of that. He wasn't doing that. He was just simply sharing with them when racism was really, really racism, when it was slapping you in the face and it wasn't hiding itself and all this other kind of stuff. It was in your face, okay? The threats he received. And yet, he persevered. He kept pushing. He didn't see himself as a victim. He didn't boo-hoo and cry and whine like celebrities do, black celebrities do today. He may have boo-hooed and cried in his room for truly being hurt by a racist society. But when he went out there in the field, he did what he had to do to win games. Unlike these celebrities today, these black celebrities and a lot of black people today in positions of authority today, these race baiters. I'm so sick of them, I don't know what to do. They make me want to throw up. Pardon my French, but that's what they make me want to do. What I appreciate about Eddie Murphy is he ended it on a positive note. Yes, this may have been a racial incident. Yes, he felt like it may have been racial, but it's all good. We've reconciled. Let's go on about our business. Let's make these movies, man, and forget about all this race stuff. Because at the end of the day, if you get cut, you're going to bleed red blood. And if I get cut, I'm going to bleed red blood. Now, if we bleed different types of different colored blood, then that's when we have a problem. You might be a reptilian person, or you might be a reptile or something, an alien. I don't know, from reticular or whatever. Who knows? But for the most part, we all bleed the same color blood. We all breathe the same air. We all drink the same water. We all eat mostly the same foods. We all live in the same freaking country. Let's learn how to get along. Can't we all just get along? Okay? I hate to use that. That's kind of like a tasteless thing. I can't take that back. I said it, but you get my point. We need to learn to get along and stop all this nonsense. Okay, but yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to say about that. Yeah, I like the fact that Eddie Murphy ended it on a positive note. He didn't cry and boo-hoo for the entirety. He just shared what he felt at the time that they were doing. But it's all good, man. Let's move on. So that's what I had to say about that. What do you guys think about what Eddie Murphy did? I mean, do you think he did the right thing, or do you think he should have held on to that, to make David Spade pay? Make SNL pay for what they did, get the government to horn in on them or what, I don't think that you should do that at all. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section. Don't like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.